Hi, I'm Angela from the Lubbock Public Library. This is Basic Scrapbooking for Adults. Scrapbooking can be a lot of fun. It's a lot of work to put together photos and layouts and supplies, but in the end you'll have memories you can cherish. We do have a lot of scrapbooking books here at the library that you can check out, and also a hobbies and crafts database you can use, which will give you more tips and instructions. So if you're ready, we can get started. What I was first going to do is show you some of the supplies that I use. A lot of the scrapbooking is preparation. You're preparing for your layout, and then the layout takes a very short amount of time. But what I have is a 12 by 12 scrapbook album. You can get ones that are smaller than this. This is probably the largest size, and it has about 20 pages. Also, we have a paper trimmer, which is essential for scrapbookers because you're cutting your paper and your cardstock. I also have some cardstock here, and you can get a variety of colors, patterns. There's so many things out there you can choose from. Sometimes you could get overwhelmed with all the stickers and the layouts and all that, but that's what you use for your pages. I also have some lettering if you want to make captions for your scrapbook. And I want to emphasize that do use acid-free paper, lignin-free paper, anything that says archival. And for example, these are archival pens. That way your scrapbook will last a long time. And I also have this adhesive tape runner. It's very easy to use. You just run it along your photos, your paper. I love it. It's really great. And of course you have your glue sticks, your photo corners, your stickers, and then you have some die cuts, which are just kind of some raised little stickers and things you can put in the corner there. So that's what I have for supplies. I have my photos, my paper. I also have extra stickers and all of that. So you never want to throw away any of your scraps or anything, because you'll always need everything you have, and that way we can get started. This is a scrapbook of my trip to Europe. This is actually the title page, so I didn't have any photos, but what's nice about this is that I have some stickers and the date of my trip, and I have my passport stamp, and I was going to use that in my boarding passes. And so I was just kind of organizing this as the title page and getting it organized for the introduction to my scrapbook. And my trip, luckily I kept a diary of it, was 5/10/1998 to 5/23/1998. So that's something I can put on the page. And then what I was going to do with the decorative scissors, this is an old passport. I don't have the passport anymore, but I do have the stamps for the visa to get into the country, into Germany. So I was just going to kind of cut across here and just make it very small cuts, kind of a decorative edge there, and kind of like almost like a ticket stub you can see here, and that just makes it a little more interesting there. And then I used that. I was going to put that there, and of course I love my pockets, and I had several boarding passes, and I just have a pocket there to put my boarding passes in. So let me go ahead and put some of the stickers on here. So usually I'm not a fan of glitter, but I think it looks kind of neat there with the glitter title there. And then I have my dates and my stickers. So I'm just going to kind of put all of those there, because you really want to document what you have and not just pictures or not just stickers. You're really telling a story, and that's what scrapbooking is all about. You're telling a story, you have a theme, and you really want to get to the heart of what your memories are. And let me go ahead and put that one. I have this one. I have just a kind of a picture here of a passport, just indicating travel. So I'll go ahead and just glue that down, and then I'll go ahead and have this one and go ahead and just glue that one down. I've got my Visa pass there. I've got my pocket here, and so I'm just going to go ahead and use my glue stick and glue the pocket down, and then that just makes a very attractive title page for the beginning of my trip. So that is my title page for my trip to Europe. This is my Germany layout. Took a trip to Europe, and this is the Germany sticker here. And then I have another sticker here. It's a die cut sticker. I'm gonna put that in the corner. And what I need to do is, you always want to have a backing or mat for the back of your photos, because it looks very plain by itself. And you always want to have a backing here, and it makes the border and everything of the photo, it makes it look nice. And so I'm going to arrange this layout how I think it looks best. What you do is just whatever grabs your eye, and use your supplies and everything, and then make it look nice, make it pleasing to the eye. And another thing is to make sure, even though you have acid-free paper and all of that, you have an archival spray that you can spray all of the receipts and things like that that are not archival. That way it protects your scrapbook and all of that. So what I'm going to do here is I have two photos here, and I have some photo corners. If I wanted to use those, I think I'll put that aside. And then, I was going to use this for my receipt. Okay. What I'm going to do is use the photo corners for my receipt. I don't want to put any adhesive or glue here, but I'm going to definitely put some glue on the back of my photos here so I can mount my photos here. And I'm just going to use my adhesive gun here. And you take the photo and you just place it on the mount. And then what you do is you just place the photo just wherever you like, and that'll stick there. And then I do the same thing again with this photo, and it just makes it so much easier when you have this runner here where you can mount your photos. And since this is Germany, I was going to put the specific town here, so I remember that when I'm doing my scrapbook. So I put down Nusloch, that's the town that I went to, and then I was going to have another adhesive on the back here so I know specifically where I went for my trip. And then finally, since this is a very delicate receipt, I wasn't going to put an adhesive. I'm going to use the photo corners. You can get a lot of photo corners with your supplies, and what happens is you just put that in the corner. There's an adhesive there, and that nicely fits on the corner there, and you can just paste it down. This page is done. This is another layout for my trip to Germany, and it's pretty simple. I just have some photo corners. This is the German flag. So I was just gonna put my postcard here. This is Heidelberg, and that's just a really beautiful postcard, and it was just a lovely trip. They have the Heidelberg castle there, and this is a pretty simple layout. You can put the photo corners here, and let me go ahead and do all that. I also have a ticket stub from when I went to the castle, and what I was going to do is just kind of use the double sided adhesive here, just roll it here, place it on the backing here so it makes it stand out a little bit more, and then I was going to use the double-sided tape here and then just adhere it to the page, and that makes it really stand out there. And I'll put the other photo corners here. Okay, I also have some, one of my favorite tools is the washi tape, and it's a lot of fun. It's just adhesive tape, and it has a lot of patterns on it. A lot of Japanese crafts use washi tape, and that's very popular there. This is just a tape, a pattern tape, and I was just going to use this in the middle of the page here. Let me cut it just a little bit shorter here. And that just kind of brings out some patterns here. It kind of livens up the page here, and it gives it a little more definition here. Let me do that. So you get the general idea, and this is that page. The next layout is the Keukenhof Gardens in Holland. It was a beautiful place. It's a tulip garden. There are all kinds of flowers there. So what I chose to do is a green background, and that really highlights the brochure that I received. And what I also have here is sometimes you can just get stuck in a rectangular shape and not go any further than that. But what you can do is also layer some paper here, and that just gives it a little bit more dimension. I also have, what I like to use is, it's mulberry paper. It's just a thin kind of paper mache paper, and it has some gold streaks in it, and just makes the page come alive just a little bit more. So you can just kind of layer it there, and then I've got the just the ticket stub here, and I've got the brochure, and just the green background just really makes it stand out. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the photo corners for the brochure here. That's what makes a vacation really a great topic for scrapbooking, because you have a lot of brochures and ticket stubs and photos, and there's just great material you can use for your trip. And then I have the layering there, and I'm going to just use all of the double-sided tape for all of that, and that's fairly easy to use. But that mulberry paper is just a really nice highlight of that. So that's that layout. This layout is also of the Keukenhof Gardens. I do have a 2-layered page layout. What I chose to do is just use a blank side of one piece of paper and then a round circular green piece of paper, because it was a circular garden, and it just reminds me of that garden that I visited. And so what I'm going to do is just use some of the adhesive here, and then go ahead and put that on the blank side of that. And that fits very nicely. And then I have a little sticker, it says Netherlands. That's pretty cute there, and that just reminds me where I was. And then I do have a number of photos with layouts here that go here. They can just go just about anywhere. Arrange them, whatever is most eye-catching. And this is just one of my favorite places that I went to in Europe because it is just beautiful. And you can see the swan picture there. And you can just kind of arrange this however you want. I also had some journaling. Usually I let the pictures speak for themselves, and then usually less is more with some layouts. You can get carried away with stickers and everything, but I have a little caption here, it's Kuchenhof Gardens. So it's gonna go ahead and just use that layout the way it is, and the pictures are really eye-catching by themselves. So I was just gonna go ahead and glue all of that together. And then I'm just gluing the pictures down here. And I also have another feature that I was going to do here, and you can use a stencil. And what's nice about this is that you can use any kind of stencil pattern, and even though metallic pens aren't archival, they're still nice to use. You can use them as a decoration here. And I had a green one and I had a purple one. And I just used these pens to make a little flower here. And that makes just a little kind of design there, and it just kind of livens up the page there. Okay, that's the final result. This is the layout that I had for Amsterdam, and this is a fairly simple one. I use the pattern paper, I use a postcard with photo corners, and what's nice about this also, I'm using the mulberry paper again, and it just makes it very eye-catching there. So I was just going to use some photo corners with this one. Sometimes you can use the mount, and sometimes you can just use the photo corners. And so I think that's very nice with the blue paper. It matches the water. There was just a lot of water there, obviously, in Amsterdam. And this is the boat ride, and then this is on the postcard, and then this is the actual boat ride itself. So that was a lot of fun. So you can see that layout. This is the layout that I have for my trip to Paris. What I did with this is it made it kind of an old world type of paper here, and then what I did is I just tore a piece of paper off the top, so it looks like a little just torn piece up there, and just gives it a little bit of interest there. I also didn't have enough paper for a full layout paper, so what I did is I connected two with washi tape, and then I just I went ahead and applied washi tape at the top there, and that linked my 2 pages, and then I made a layout. So what I did here is just I arranged 2 photos, and I have a background for each one of those. And what I also like is I made a little pocket for my museum ticket, and what you can do is just have a little pocket for your ticket stub, and you can put it in there and then tape it there. And then I was just there's the Mona Lisa on the card there, and I can just stick it in the pocket, and it just kind of does a little peekaboo there. So I'm going to go ahead and paste those, and I have a little stamp. There's a lot of rubber stamps and things like that you can do, and this is a silver one, and I was just going to stamp that at the top here, and that just makes a little design here and gives a little more interest. So let me go ahead and paste those on there. And don't be afraid to use a lot of different papers or textures, because then that livens up your page. And let me see. And then there's that. And then I put the captions here for the museum that I went to. And that's the Louvre. And then this is the Musée d'Orsay. And then here's the pocket. And I was just gonna glue the pocket here. And then that way you can always take your ticket stub or whatever you like out again and look at it again if you wanted to. But that just holds the ticket stub or receipt or whatever you wanted to do. And let me make sure I glue down the title here. So that's that layout. This is the layout for the Arc de Triomphe in the Champs-Élysées. That was really incredible because that day they had the French flag flowing beneath the Arc de Triomphe. I've got a little sticker here that says France here. And then I do have these photo corners to use. And of course they're the French flag. I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple of those here. You get the idea of the photo corners. That just keeps everything straight here. And one important aspect of your scrapbooking is not just your embellishments and your crafts and everything, it's your journaling. You need to make note of your time and place and where you're at, because time is fleeting and you may not remember where you were at or the location of your photos. This is pretty obvious, it's in France, but journaling is just a really important part of what you do is in scrapbooking. So I had some cute stickers here too. I don't know if I can get that one. Let's try this one. And then I just put a cute sticker there. What I'm gonna do is just kind of journal, and I did go back and I kept a travel diary, and I made note of the exact day I went here. So I'm really glad I did that, and I can go ahead and just journal my article here. Let me try a different pen here. It's May 20th, it was 1998. And I'm writing what it says here about the Arc de Triomphe is one of the most famous monuments in Paris, France, standing at the western end of the Champs-Élysées. Of the Champs. I have a typo there, but you get the idea. And then what I would do is go ahead and put that as my border there, and this just explains where I was, and just the journaling is an important focus of scrapbooking. This is my favorite layout because, of course, the Eiffel Tower, Paris, and I found a lot of stickers and embellishments and things like that to kind of bring attention to the Eiffel Tower. I have some gold photo corners and silver. I'll use the gold one for the statue of Eiffel. That's the creator of the Eiffel Tower. And then a silver one for the Eiffel Tower itself. I also, one of my favorite things is to make a pocket I put all of my receipts and trips to the Eiffel Tower tickets. I put them all in a little pocket, and then I had a little string just around it, and it just gives it a little bit of texture there and interest there. And then I also used, you can use tweezers here, but I think I was able to get this beading off of here. I put some beading just above the photos, and that just brought some light to it and certainly enhances the fact that this is a golden statue here. So that was a lot of fun to find some beading, and there's just all kinds of things you can think of to just enhance your layouts there. And there is my Paris Eiffel Tower layout. This is the layout of the visit to Switzerland, which is a beautiful place, very scenic, mountainous. And I thought of, for the kind of caption and title, to use some decorative scissors. And they have some jagged edges here. And I was just gonna cut here, and it just makes the paper a little more interesting, kind of a jagged edge, just like the mountains there that I saw. And so I put that as Switzerland here, and then I have my pictures here, and then I went to a Lion of Lucerne, which is a famous kind of sculpture inside there. So I was going to go ahead and use the decorative scissors again. And that just gives a little bit of shape to your captions there. So that was a fairly simple one, but you can see that I used some mounts that are map shaped and all of that, so that kind of stands out on that blue paper. So let me just go ahead and glue that. That is the page for Switzerland. This is another Venice layout. What's interesting about this one is a little more challenging, is that I had a picture of a man blowing glass, and I didn't want the whole picture. That's not really interesting to me, but what I did is I used a punch here, and I punched out a little picture of him. So what it'll do is just feature him on the paper. And so it gets rid of the extra space here, and we can just use him in that picture. And I was gonna do the same thing for the gondolier here, and let's see if it'll go a little bit. I think I need to cut just a little bit off the paper there, so it'll punch in the right area here. And there's just a little punch, like a 3-hole punch. It's just a punch for just by itself. So do that. Okay. And there we go. So it just kind of narrows it down, because in some photos, sometimes a person's just off to the right, and then there's all this blank space, and that doesn't necessarily look as nice as if you had it more focused on the individual and the little punch there. So what I had here is I used that, and then I just kind of focus on him and put a little picture here. And then of course I can use, this is from a map from Venice, and I can use my decorative scissors, and you can just kind of cut right here. Make sure you just cut some very, very small cuts. Unlike regular scissors, it just takes a little bit of time there. And I was just kind of going to use a little rough edges here just to kind of jazz it up a little bit. It's far as the title, but just take very, very small cuts with these decorative scissors. So, and I was going to feature that, and there's the gondolier, and there's the glass blower. I was going to go ahead and set that up there, and I think I'm going to use some, no, I think I'll just use the double-sided kind of tape to put the Venice little caption there. Just put Venice here, and I'll go ahead and take a picture of him, put it on the little mount, little square there, and you can see by doing the punch, and or you can do a geometric circle and do it that way, but I kind of like the punch there, and you can put it here, and it just makes more of a focus of the picture rather than the whole workshop or the sky or something like that. You can put it there. Put that there. And then of course I have my 2 other photos, which I'm going to mount with the double-sided. And that is another page for Venice. This is the layout I'm doing for my trip to Holland, and I have a picture of a windmill, and you can include the picture if you want the road and the sky and everything, but what you can do is of course, you know, keep duplicates of your photos. That way if you make an error, you don't ruin your original. But what I was going to do is just kind of cut out some of the road there and make it just a smaller picture, and then there's not so much empty space here. So I was going to use a mat, and then I was going to cut through here, and perfect. So it did it there, and then there's just a little more feature of the windmill itself for the whole scrapbook there. So you can use X-Acto knife and ruler and cutting mat, and you can do that with your pictures here. So let me go ahead and get this one for Holland. What's also nice is a corner rounder. I love this tool too, because instead of just rectangular photos over and over, what you do is you just insert your photo here and then click down, and it makes a round corner for your photo, and that just gives it kind of a nice touch. It's just a corner rounder, and it's just a variety from the same rectangular ones over and over. It just gives it kind of a soft edge there. So this is really a neat tool too. So I'm gonna do that. And see, that makes it very pretty. It's all rounded off there, so you can do that for each photo in your layout or just one. It's just up to you. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and then what I want to do is, I think I want to do the corner rounder maybe for all of these, because then it will kind of go together with this layout. And you can use backing, and then there's a die cut here. It's a suitcase, and you can just put that up in the corner here. I put this, always take the scenic route, because I had a choice to go into the city or go see a windmill and wooden shoe factory, and I thought I want to take the scenic route. So scrapbooking is just a good way to preserve your memories and just give you a reminder of your good times. And I was going to go ahead and put the windmill one just right in there, and that is just perfect for that border. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue some of that. I just like it the way it is, so I'll go ahead and just leave it like that. I could put this here. I could cut off the sky here. I might try that. Let me try that with the cutting board just one more time. And because there's just empty space there, and there's the sky, and you know, we can go ahead and kind of cut that out. You just have to be careful with your measurements there. So make sure you press down. Make sure you press down hard enough. And there's that one. That didn't turn out well, so I'm going to go ahead and try it again here, just a little further down up on the mat here. See? Perfect. So with the other picture, I didn't have enough room to put my picture here, but of course now I do. And that just gives a little bit of scenery. And of course with the windmill, it just gives a little bit of focus. And that's the thing that you really want to see. And then of course you just do the backing again for this. And since this is a little bit smaller, I was going to use the paper trimmer that I have. And this is Scrapbooker's best friend, this paper trimmer. And I was just going to go ahead and measure out this and make a little border here. And I cut off the extra here, but I still have plenty of space for my border with the picture of the water there. It's just a beautiful place there. So I have the scrapbook layout here. I think I'm going to cut that a little bit more so it'll fit a little bit. So let me make sure I have it correctly with the photo here. And I was just going to cut a little bit more off the top there. And make sure it's straight there. And cut that off. And then I've got my paper trimmer there. And then there you go. And it just overlaps a little bit, but you get the idea that you have a border there. You can lower this, or you can take this off and move it. But you get the idea that it's just a border there, or you can trim it again and make it just fit a little bit better. But that is the layout that I have for the trip to Holland. Thanks for joining me for Basic Scrapbooking for Adults. Have fun. Thanks for joining us. And then there are also resources here at the library that you can check out. Have a great day.